Well, this is Robert Bobby, so he's not.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, on board. This is Dady K, 4 Stars Radio TV, Atlanta, Georgia, USA. With all the information to keep us safe and productive to every society you belong. This is not a beautiful day. We're going to have this great talk about the some issues that has been going on, but we need some more clarification here about the Western Togoland Union. And we have one of our own who is going to explain it more better for all of us to understand. There has been a couple misunderstanding, but we want to hear from the house's whole mouth. And today my guest is Mr. Seth Mefetu. Seth, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
How are you, Seth?
By the grace of God, I'm doing good.
You know what? I'm so excited because this is it's not a kind of a look at see if the understanding of the historical background of this is causing a whole lot of let's say it's not a conflict, but it's something we all need to understand, and understand it once and for all, how we came about and what we should do. Even some people call it the Western Togoland Rebellion, and it's an ongoing situation that most of us or some of us want to get the more clarification. So if you were talking to me right now, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Seth Mefetu, and I'm taking a short commercial break. And when I come back, we have the full detail. He's going to explain more details on how this thing came about, where is it going, and when should we expect the rest of the information. Dady, I'll be right back with you.
Hello.
Akuya.
Yes.
Eti say.
Boko now swear.
Nyame adom Ghana boko.
Nyame adom boko. Now swear.
Nyame adom me pegana aduane adi wo ho. Enti se obetumi anya bode ne kontomire ne banche no de abremia nka mani beje pa obi be ba US nyame adom next week.
Na ko de abreo. You.
Enti wo de kekani na abom na nipa no ba me de number be man na afro why.
Matter.
Eni baba.
Matter. Bye.
Hey, ke wo de bia fontarwa so ande ne fa banche ne bode free Ghana breme de asem.
Akuya ma figure na aduane o. Ba wonim say US yanso de edin so obenya Ghana aduane ato.
O de krom ha se wote ha kwa enti ne ekoso wo hanom nyina onte ye. Se manimi we na twam ya de Ghana ba US abrochima mu hanom se Charlotte Way Tropical Market. Obenya nnuane bi te se enwo macro ahoro nyina abenkwan a ye de egu chance mu eno so obenya bi wo ho. Eye magi sardine ahoro bayere bode potato brodo enyadoa emu gari wele prekese beans ebro entos milo kokonte momo ne krampo no upebia obenya bi o Charlotte Way
edina wo boy na mahu baby ko we na madam fu bi di hu adanse omoton African way nyina
anne sawadam fu ni di hu adanse e kire ode ana ye do kretrodo omoton African way GTP ntoma e de apempa me ma shirt kama e de apam manta de e dress skirt kawa sandal shoes slippers any coat omutimi sha office any baby bia nyina Charlotte Way Tropical Market e tonton bi wo ho no ahwene e so de beto sisi ana de beto sa na so de beto 9 po ne Charlotte Way tonton bi wo ho no hwehwe ye kira kwan e wo 396 West Pike Street number C Lawrenceville Georgia 30046 Fryer wa telephone number we so 678-682-3577 Charlotte Way Tropical Market African Caribbean and Latino Market
your one-stop tropical shop.
Important historical fact is that of all the different peoples that have formed our modern nation, it was only the people of the Volta, Oti, parts of the current northern regions who had the unique opportunity to choose to join the territory that became Ghana at independence. I'm referring, of course, to the 1956 plebiscite, in which on May 9th of that year, the people of the then British Togoland voted to join the Gold Coast on the attainment of her independence a year later. Without that significant historical event, we would not have Ghana as we know it today. Today, we celebrate the anniversary of the day we achieved the enviable status of becoming the first country in sub-Saharan.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again. This is Dady as I said earlier on. That is my friend and my man, and the one we're going to have a conversation, Mr. Seth Mefetu. Seth, welcome again, and thanks for taking the time to be here with us, Seth.
Thank you so much, Daddy K.
Now let's talk what the definition. Tell us who is Seth. When we talk about Seth Mefetu of the PLO, who is he?
Well, like you rightly said, my name is Seth Mefetu. I am the PRO of People's Liberation Council of Western Togoland. I am from British Togoland, the part that we are calling today as Western Togoland, the land that have been absorbed by Ghana, that today we call ourselves Ghanaians. I'm currently living in the United States of America. Thank you.
Oh, that is said. Now let's talk about the definition of the Western Togoland. If we say the Western Togoland Union, what do we mean? Tell us the history about it.
If we say the Western Togoland Union with Ghana, we are referring, of course, to the union that the people of British Togoland, or Togoland under British administration, or Western Togoland. I'm using those three names so that people will not get confused. When we use the name British Togoland, Togoland under British administration, Western Togoland, it means the same thing. That's why I'm beginning using the three names so that people don't get confused. So in 1956, May 9, 1956, the people of British Togoland or Western Togoland, under the recommendation of the United Nations, voted in plebiscite to join their territory with an independent Gold Coast, which is now Ghana, in a form of a union. And after the plebiscite, the results were that majority from the Western Togoland are in favor of the union with an independent Gold Coast. So after finishing the report to the UN, they've taken a resolution 1044-XI of 13 December 1956, instructing Britain to bring about the union. All the necessary steps that British should be taking were emulated by the United Nations, and the job of creating the union was entrusted into the hands of Britain to make sure that British Togoland or Western Togoland and Gold Coast, which is now Ghana, have a very harmonious union. Daddy K, unfortunately, the union which our forefathers voted for in 1956, that union has now been established. And all of a sudden, a state has been absorbed, which is the Western Togoland, has been absorbed by Ghana. So that is why today we are here. We are talking about the union. We believe that today we are of age and that we can make that union to happen. We can correct the mistakes of the past. That is the discussion that we are having today.
Okay, so what is the cause of recent agitation in Ghana for secession of Western Togoland as alleged?
It's unfortunate for me to answer that question, but I will do my best to answer it because as my organization, People Liberation Council of Western Togoland, the organization is not in connection or does not tone the path of succession. Rather, People Liberation Council of Western Togoland is taking the path of resolving the old age gap between the people of British Togoland, their choice, which is the union with the independent Gold Coast during the 1953 plebiscite. That currently we are working towards to create that union harmoniously. But like you said, there have been an agitation for secession or people talking about separation, which of course I have told you that People Liberation Council is not in support of that. But I will do my best to give you a few points why those agitation have to be, going on. One is that the Western Togolanders have been very patriotic in every aspect, in everything that made Ghana a prestigious country. But right from the day Gold Coast became Ghana, which is 1957, 6 March, the rights of the people of British Togoland or Western Togoland have not been respected. Why? Because the people of Western Togoland have been denied of their right to the union they chose in the plebiscite. Aside that, efforts have been made by subsequent governments that have come into Ghana to suppress the people of Western Togoland. I'll give you some instances.
Okay.
Under the Avoidance of Discrimination Act. When this act was introduced at the time, the British Togoland or Western Togoland have only one political party that was representing its interest, which is called the Togoland Congress. The Togoland Congress was the only political party that was fueling or championing the interests of the Western Togoland. But due to the introduction of the Avoidance of Discrimination Act, Togoland Congress was banned. It was banned. So there is no other party, there is no other political party, there is no other person that can speak on behalf of the land. And then come, you understand, Kwame Nkrumah, if you remember the Preventive Detention Act, I'm sure you remember that. When that also came, the leaders of the Togoland Congress were detained. Some were in prison without trial. Some were forced to go on exile. All because all these things were done purposely to kill the agenda of the union between Ghana and Western Togoland. Aside that, when Ketu Achampo that came to power in 1972, in 1976 he also introduced a decree called Supreme Military Council Decree 20. I'm not sure if you know, if you've heard of that. That decree also banned Togoland Liberation Movement, because after the Preventive Detention Act finally destroyed the Togoland Congress, the people of British Togoland or Western Togoland came out with the Togoland Liberation Movement, another movement that gears towards liberation of the motherland in terms of union with the former Gold Coast, which is Ghana. And now Ketu Achampo also came out with a decree called the Supreme Military Council Decree 20 that I mentioned before. To that also, when that was introduced, it fight against the occupation, it fight against the movement, which is the Togoland Liberation Movement. And this liberation movement was fighting against the occupation and forcible integration of the Togoland. So when that law was introduced, they also the liberation movement was also
important
have to
historical
run
fact.
away. They have no place to stand, and they have to find their hiding place. So that law also killed the Togoland liberation movement. So you could see, on and on and on. Even today, you could see what we are hearing in Ghana today. You hear a lot of agitation from outside, which is the British Togoland, about the separation or succession. You could hear also from the other side of the aisle, which is Ghana, you could hear them trying to do what? Intimidate these people. In all this intimidation, we can talk about thousands and millions intimidations that has gone on against the people of British Togoland. You see, but that will not serve us any purpose. But if I could remember some, I could tell you about the killing spree in Alavanyo recently, when a commander had involved in growing of marijuana in Alavanyo, and when business gone bad, he ended up with a shooting spree in Alavanyo. Citizens of Alavanyo were killed in a broad daylight, and the government of Ghana did not do anything about it. The only thing they did was to transfer the third commander from the Volta region to another region. That was the only thing they did. We know of the NAPO statement where the finance minister have to put a budget, include the Ketasi defense wall. The NAPO came out clearly and said that if the minister put anything like that in the budget or allocate any money for the construction of the Kita sea defense wall, he will organize demonstration against the APP government in Kumasi. So if these people are part of you, why should all these things be going on? We have millions and thousands of what do you call it, of intimidation tactics that have gone on in the British Togoland. We can also remember Kennedy Japan when President Mahama was in power. Prior to the 2016 election, he go on air and declare war on the Votarians. He even prescribed the way they should be attacked. Yet President Mahama at the time didn't do nothing about it. We all know about Abronye of the NPP. We had an audio where he was calling these people not Ghanaians, insulting them, mentioning names, saying that they have done nothing good to this country. They have caused a whole lot of pain and misery to this country. They should go to their country. They are not from Ghana. They are from Togo. You heard about that. We heard the former, the current Vice President of Ghana, Dr. Bawumia. We heard him prior to the 2016 election in the Alisa Hotel, where he described the Votarians as Togolese and asked that their names should be removed from the voter register. You see, we have all that and many, many more. So all these things put together make the people of British Togoland agitate for succession or separation, not because of anything. But the People Liberation Council of Western Togoland, on the other hand, believe that a foundation has been laid for us by our forefathers. What did they do? Our forefathers voted in plebiscite in terms of union with independent Gold Coast. So there is no way for us to deviate from what have been done by our forefathers already. That's why People Liberation Council is toning the path of union. But the people who are calling for separation or succession is because of the pain, the intimidation that they are getting from Ghanaians and the Ghana government. That is what is causing them to demand such succession or separation from Ghana. So that is what I can say about that.
Okay, will you define the borders of the Western Togoland? How will you define the borders of the Western Togoland you're talking about?
Well, I would rather prefer discussion on how the union could be.
It came about.
Like I said before, my organization, People Liberation Council of Western Togoland, we are talking about union, and we are geared towards a greater regional integration. Just imagine Africa without borders, as before the coming of the European. Even Europe itself is struggling now to model an European Union after the Africa they came to meet and greedily partition among themselves between the years of 1885 and 1914. So, talking about the borders, we are interested in the union. When the Ghana government could see any reason in our call for the union, we can define the borders peacefully with Ghana, involving the UN, who entrusted this land into the hands of Britain. And of course, Britain have already defined the borders of Ghana, which does not include Western Togoland. We will look into all that. You see, because the border has become a very chronic issue today. When you talk about it, there were few people, fusing about it. Some say we are not part, some say we are part. So we will want the sleeping dog lie. And the major thing is the union. That the union, we should accept each other and agree by the diplomatic steps that the People Liberation Council is taking to tackle this issue, so that we can actually invite other issue on board, like the borders and other stuff. So that's what I can say about the borders.
Okay. That's nice. You were listening to dedicated 4 Stars Radio TV Atlanta, Georgia, USA, with Seth Mefetu, who is a member of the PLO. That is the People's Liberation Council for the Western Togoland, and we are talking about that creation of the Western Togoland. It's been a battle going on from time to time, from the time of colonialism to this day. If you haven't heard about it, or if you know a little bit about it, he is giving us the story, the history, background of what they are looking for. So what message would you like to give to the leaders of the government and businesses now that they are hustling to get the Jubilee House to occupy the seats of the government?
Thank you, Daddy. Those politicians in Ghana who are crying or doing everything possible to get to the seat of government, I'm very surprised that none of these people have mentioned Western Togoland in their manifesto. Everything they are doing, they overlooked the plight or the demand of the people of Western Togoland. And I can tell you that if we truly believe that the people of Western Togoland are part of Ghana, then we must take their concern into our manifesto, look at it and address it, find a way to address it. Just as politicians are finding ways to address the galamsey or illegal mining in Ghana, the issue of Western Togoland union with Ghana should also be a matter of concern to these politicians, because this issue can make a mar Ghana. It have a potential to destabilize Ghana in the near future if the right thing is not done. But none of the politicians so far I have seen, or so far that have come out willingly reading their manifesto, explaining their manifesto to the people of Ghana and asking them to give them the mandate to lead the country, they are not touching on the issue of Western Togoland. Western Togoland issue have been sidelined, and that will be unfair if they continue on that parallel. We should recognize these people as part of us or part of Ghana, and their problem should be everyone's problem. Politicians should be ready to solve their problem as well. If that is not done, I'm afraid we might not have a peaceful regional integration. Like I said before, the union between Ghana and British Togoland, it is the way or the key to the stability and peace in the region. You know, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah once said that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of Africa. Western Togoland is an integral part of that Africa. When we talk of liberation, we mean breaking down the chains that keep our leaders blind to the woes of their people. Total liberation includes freedom to think independently. I should at this time say it openly that when Ghana itself is not yet independent because of its blindness to the freedom of Western Togoland issue. You see, this is a very constitutional issue that I think that Ghana should be concerned, but they have turned a blind eye to this issue. So Ghana itself is not truly independent yet. That's what I can see. So it's about time that our politicians who are now trying to go to the Jubilee House, who are now trying to get to the seat of government, to begin to revisit this Western Togoland issue. This issue is a Ghana issue. This issue is everybody's issue. We should not overlook it. The more you overlook it, the more you make it worse. That's all I can say for now. Thank you, Daddy K.
Wow, that's a more story and then a more history coming out from our own Seth Mefetu, who it's one of the leading members of the People's Liberation Council, as we having these discussions about the Western Togoland issue. If you just join us, this Dady for Stars Radio TV, Atlanta, Georgia, USA. We are talking about the Western Togoland, and we know there's so many stories about it, and even some people were called rebellious. They were rebellious, and many more. And it's rather unfortunate that all these politicians, nobody is talking about it. But sir, let me ask you this before I take a little break and come back. I remember that all Voltarian chiefs rejected the idea, and the president even praised them. So now, what is your line of action since your group were rejected by all these chiefs in the Volta region?
Daddy K, I'm sorry. There were a little bit echo in your speaker, so I didn't get the question right. You said what?
Okay, I was saying, I was saying, just
line of action?
pay a little attention here. That I remember all the Volta chiefs rejected the idea, and the president even praised them. So now, what is your line of action since your group were rejected by these chiefs?
Unfortunately, our group have not been rejected by any chief. There is no chief in Ghana or British Togoland that have openly come out and said they have rejected People's Liberation Council of Western Togoland. No chief have ever done that. I'm happy you talk about the president. The president have openly said during the independence celebration at the Volta region, and I'm sure you played the video. He said the truth that the people of British Togoland, they were not part of Ghana. They voted in 1956 to join Ghana, but he left out how they wanted to join, because the joining was for union, not integration. They had to join Ghana in a form of a union, not integration, not absorption. So after the election, the plebiscite. I'm referring to the plebiscite. After the plebiscite, or the one the president of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the one that he is calling the significant event. That significant event have a backbone. The backbone is the union. The cause of that is the union. And that union have not been established. And all of a sudden, a whole state have been swallowed up. That is what has brought us here today. If a state has not been swallowed up, we won't be here and be talking about Western Togoland and Ghana Union. If a state has not been swallowed up, all those obnoxious laws that was enacted, I mentioned Avoidance of Discrimination Act, I mentioned the Preventive Detection Act, I mentioned the Supreme Military Council Decree 20. All those obnoxious laws and decree. If the union that the United Nations have recommended through Resolution 1044 SI and through Resolution 944X and through Resolution 1514, all these are UN resolutions. And all these resolutions talk about the union, give steps how the union should be formalized. If those documentation or those documents have been followed appropriately and the union is formed constitutionally or democratically, I don't think that all those laws would have been enacted. So those laws that have been enacted to suppress, to intimidate the people of British Togoland tells you that something is not right somewhere. Tells you that the union that the people voted for have not been created. If the union has been created, we would have a union agreement. If the union had been created, we would have the working of the union. Where is the working of the union? How is the British Togoland and Ghana Union? How is it working? Where are the modalities? You see, there is nothing about that. That is why people from Ghana feel comfortable, can come and look at people in the face and tell them that, I dare you, you are not Ghanaian, you have no right to register to vote. You are a Togolese, go back to Togo. We heard all these things, we hear this anytime there is an election coming up in Ghana, people have to register to vote, all these things goes on. All because union have not been created or the union have not been effected. So now that the president himself have said it, we have made it a point, People Liberation Council, we believe in diplomacy. We believe in dialogue. We'll be calling upon the government and the government officials. We'll be calling upon institutions to give us a listening ears. They should allow us, they should hear something from us so that we can start some negotiation. We can start talking from somewhere. Now that the president have mentioned it clearly in public that we are not Ghanaians, that the people from Oti region, Volta region, all the way to the northern part of the British Togoland are not Ghanaians, that they voted to join Ghana at independence, we are calling, we have made efforts so that the government will give us a listening ears, institutions involved, that the stakeholders will give us a chance to hear our side of the story so that we can start talking, start from somewhere to somewhere. But all these things just ended up nothing. People are not ready to give us the listening ears. People are not ready to give us their time. People don't see this as a Ghana's issue. They don't see it as a trouble for Ghana. The only thing that, only few people talk about this, only 2 people talk about this. It is not like that. What is on the ground is more than what people see. The people are involved in the struggle for liberation of British Togoland. They are more than some of us who come on air to talk. The people that are involved are more educated than most of us who come on air and talk about it. And I pray that there should not be a time that people should get fed up and take the law into their own hands. We have been able to bring people's anger down, just to avoid escalation of things. But I can tell you, without missing words, that every step we have taken today towards harmonious liberation of Western Togoland, or harmonious creation of Togoland Union, Western Togoland Union with Ghana, all the steps we have taken so far towards the direction are a benchmark for generation to come. If Ghana did not see anything good, if they did not see wisdom in what we are doing, for them to sit up, for us to do what is right now, future generation will come and they might not listen to nobody. They might take a different or radical action. Because when they weigh all the constitutional steps we have taken so far, when they weigh all the diplomacy we have taken so far, and nothing has come out of it, they might, I am not saying that they will, I'm saying that they might resort to the fact that when persuasion fails, force must be applied. And when you get to that level, that is where things will be so bad. And some of us, we might be older at the time, we will sit behind and said, we told you so. We are trying to avoid something that we can see from far. But many didn't see it because people go to bed and they were able to sleep and wake up. Togoland issue doesn't affect them. They are okay. All right. Daddy K, I'll leave it there.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Said, for this explanation. And I hope that the government or the politicians are going to give you the listening ears now as we approaching the election. And so this is some of your grievances, because we want to resolve some of these issues now. This is not now. This has been a long time, in the days of colonialism, and it's still ongoing. So this day, that means it's something that you really emphasize on it in order for you to get the better understanding and then the satisfaction from whatever you are seeking. I'll be right back.
The whole booger is the parliament where this is Robert Bobby, so he's not.
Yeah, Daddy K.
An important historical fact is that of all the different peoples that have formed our modern nation, it was only the people of the Volta, Oti, and parts of the current northern regions who had the unique opportunity to choose to join the territory that became Ghana at independence. I'm referring, of course, to the 1956 plebiscite, in which on May 9th of that year, the people of the then British Togoland voted to join the Gold Coast on the attainment of her independence a year later. Without that significant historical event, we would not have Ghana as we know it today. Today, we celebrate the anniversary of the day we achieved the enviable status of becoming the first country in sub-Saharan
The whole booger is the parliament where this is Robert Bobby, so he's not.
Okay, I think so far we've heard a little bit more about the Western Togoland Union, and we are having these discussions with Seth Mefetu, who is one of the leading members of the People's Liberation Council for the Western Togoland. If you just join us, share, like you did, share on all the social media outlets, and let everybody get themselves involved wherever you are. If you have an MP or anyone who's representing your constituency, you can approach them with these few demands. But Seth, let's conclude it here with this question. Do you see yourself as not part of Ghana, and do you think this move is necessary at this point while your place is part of Ghana? Do you think this is necessary while your place is part of Ghana too?
Until the union is formed, the people of British Togoland are not fully Ghanaians. They are not fully part of Ghana. Because with all due respect, it was the land we call the Gold Coast that became Ghana. And when Gold Coast was in existence, British Togoland or Western Togoland was also in existence. These are two separate states or two separate entities. They are not together. They are not one. British Togoland and Gold Coast are not one land. They are not the same. They are two different states. So what could have brought these two people together? Only union. Only union. Gold Coast at the time was a colony, and the British Togoland was a UN trust territory at the time. That is why every decision was taken on behalf of the land by UN. It was the United Nations that have approved the plebiscite, and they asked that the people of British Togoland should be asked to determine whether they have interest in joining their territory together with the Gold Coast, which is now Ghana. You see? So when the people voted for union with Ghana, it is that union, that missing link. It is that union that makes them Ghanaians. So if that union is not formed, if we cannot have an evidence of a union, if we cannot have a footage of a union, how do you call yourself part of that country? What makes you part of that country? It is the union that makes you part. Daddy K.
Yeah.
Daddy K. What
Yes.
makes your wife part of your family? Is it not the marriage between you and your wife?
Of
That
course.
makes your wife part of your family?
Of course. Yeah, of course, yes.
The only thing that can make British Togoland or Western Togoland truly 100% Ghanaians or 100% part of Ghana, it is the union. So therefore, that union should be there so that anybody can point at fingers to and say, oh, that is the union. This is what makes us Ghanaian. This is what brought us together. But as we speak, there is nothing like that. There is nothing like that. That's why we are saying that, okay, we have lived with Ghana for many years. We have intermarriages. We are intertwined. We are culturally bound together in many ways. We will not say we are breaking away from our kinsmen. Breaking away, going where? We are not going to say that. Our forefathers have a wisdom. Our forefathers are wise. They know why they decided to join their territory with Ghana. So that thing, that joining that Britain didn't do, or in the days of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, that joining that was left out. Let us do it now. Let us do that joining, which is the union. Let us do it now, so that everybody can feel belonging. You see, so that everybody's right will be respected and protected, so that a law will not be passed to ban the use of Western Togoland. There are laws passed in Ghana, such as Supreme Military Council Decree 20, bound the name Western Togoland. You can do business in the name of British Togoland. You can use the name British Togoland. You can support anything British Togoland. But you can do anything with the name Gold Coast. You can support anything in the name Gold Coast. If we are two in marriage, why should one person be bound from using his or her last name? You see? Today, Supreme Military Decree 20 is being used against people of British Togoland. As we speak, go to the court. There are many people from British Togoland who are standing trial, and Supreme Military Decree. That decree is being used today. Today that Ghana is under constitutional dispensation. Today that Ghana is saying that they have a democracy and they have a duty to protect the democracy that they have. We are still using a decree. And today that Ghana have a written constitution, a constitution that is against discrimination. But Ghana could adopt decree that fuel discrimination. If you read the full content of the Supreme Military Decree 20, you could see that it is purely discriminate law. It discriminates against the people of British Togoland and left the other side alone. That the case is very sad. Like I told you, today in Ghana, you can't even use the name Western Togoland. And all because of the Supreme Military Decree 20. You can't do anything in the name British Togoland. I have instances where we have embarked on a developmental projects to educate the whole community about self-reliance. PLC have taken upon itself. One of the steps was to educate the community to plant trees that we started. When we started it, one of the program, the police have to come in and arrest the people who are educating the township about tree planting. They seized their machine, the tree, the seedlings that they brought, everything was confiscated. All because of the name Togoland that was attached to People's Liberation Council. If you go to Ghana, there are instances that we have appealed for funds and other stuff. We have asked projects and that will help people because it was in the name that People Liberation Council of Western Togoland. Because of the Togoland attached to People Liberation Council, when people hear it, they back off. They back off. We are not to do anything bad, anything that will bring development to the people. Because we saw that, okay, there's a need for us to educate these people also to be self-reliant. They should not rely on government to do everything for them. They should take the bull by the horn. They should do something for themselves. But because of the Togoland attached to our name, you see how bad it is. That you see how bad it is. So how do you see yourself as belonging? Huh?
So why is it that what do you think makes the whole country, even with the Supreme Court, that difficult to grant you whatever you are seeking for? What do you think? Because it looks like it's just a handful of people who are just fighting for this Western Togoland Union. Just a handful. Even a lot of Voltarians do not even side up with you. So what do you think? What is making it really difficult from what you have explained so far? I think it's understandable if that is what the whole mandate is about. I think it's just an openly issue that can be agreed upon. So what is it? I mean, I don't get it right now as we're talking for this matter. It should have been just easygoing and agree with it, sign it, and then the Togoland will be given back to you. I think there's something, we are missing something, because if we have 278 MPs and nobody is talking about it, we're missing something. Don't you see that?
No, It's not that a handful of people who are talking about this issue. Like I told you before, I did mention that some of us who have the opportunity to come on air and speak on the issue, we are not the best when it comes to British Togoland. There are people who are more educated than us. There are people who have occupied higher offices who are supporting the idea, who knew that what we are saying is the truth. But the system, it is the corrupt system that we are facing. I can tell you, in Ghana, if you take up the issue of Western Togoland to court, if you are a lawyer, you will lose your license. You will lose your license.
So that means that's what I'm saying. We are missing something. We are missing something.
Exactly, because the government is bent on intimidating the people. The government is bent on doing anything unconstitutional to suppress the people of British Togoland. So even if you're a lawyer, you can't go to court and fight on behalf of these people. If you try, you will lose your law license. So how do you expect this to work? Now, we have taken upon ourselves, the only way out is education. We are not, in a hurry to write anything and say sign. First of all, we say, okay, let's educate the people, because there are most people in Ghana, both Ghana and Western Togoland, do not know the history of the British Togoland. Some of them never heard about Western Togoland until recently. So education, we began educating the people. You must educate the people first. The people must understand what you are talking about. They must come into terms what you are talking about, and then they can have your support. You see, we began with education. We appealed to the government to allow us to educate our people peacefully. We were doing that, and all of a sudden, the government started arresting our educators. Because when the education was going down, and people were following the cause, people are now awakening. They are now realizing that, oh, okay, so it was like this, it was like that. Oh, so before we were not part of Ghana, then why are we here? Then what is it? Oh, okay, if this is true, we have a document from the United Nations that we use to back everything that we said, to prove that we are not just, talking from our head. We have every authentic document to prove it. And we have done this thing. Once the people get involved, then the government began to arrest. When they see you talk about British Togoland, they arrest you. You got to a point now the people are scared. If you go anywhere and you mention that, people run away from you. When you are talking and the name Western Togoland comes from your mouth, the people around you, you see them running away. Because
okay, why is it so? Why is it so? Is it because of the education, or is just because they don't want to get themselves involved?
That is the intimidation tactics that the government have employed in checking this issue.
Is it this government or all the government that have come to pass since the 1992 Constitution? Since then, when did this thing come to play that we are starting to fight for this Togoland Union? Is it from 1992 or just quite recently?
No. If you listen to my presentation from the beginning, you can see during Kwame Nkrumah time, the fight for liberation of British Togoland started way long before Ghana.
So I'm saying that we are missing something. Way from Kwame Nkrumah till this day, this thing is not being passed. Either bill or independence or whatever you want to call it, it's not being passed. There is something missing. Maybe you and I don't know it.
You see, that became, like I told you before, that I didn't hear everything that you said.
Okay.
Whatever you talk, the part that I hear, I will try to answer it. I was on a call before you cut in. When the issue of British Togoland started a long time ago, the partition itself of Togoland happened in 1916. That was a long time ago, where Togoland was divided into two. It was divided into Western Togoland and Eastern Togoland. I just don't want to go back to history. It will prolong the discussion. the Eastern Togoland was given to French. That's the France, and the Western Togoland was given to Britain. That is why we have the British Togoland or Togoland under British administration. We also have French Togoland or Togoland under French administration or Eastern Togoland. So Togoland was two. It was one land that was divided into two. So it was two. Okay, so you could see that it didn't start today. We agitated for independence when we were in a transition council. When we were under the transition council, we asked for independence. Before, we were asking for unification of the Togoland, so the two Togoland will come together. But the United Nations, in its own wisdom, have seen that the two lands have experienced two different civilizations for over 30 years. So if the two of you have lived under two separate civilizations, how do we bring you together? We can't do that for you guys. What we can do for you is that you will be a country on your own. The other people will also be on their own. So that's the decision of the UN. So that is why they were entrusted into the hands of Britain. And UN asked Britain to take care of them until they are matured enough to become independent. Now, if you quite remember, Namibia was also a trust territory, was entrusted into the hands of South Africa. Do you know of that? Daddy K?
Yeah, I'm listening. Namibia was entrusted into the hands of South Africa.
Hello, Daddy K?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Okay, you were saying Namibia was entrusted into the hands of South Africa. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
Hello, Daddy K, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, you were saying about Namibia being entrusted into the hands of South Africa.
Okay, I cannot hear you, Daddy K.
Oh, okay. All right. Wow, we are having this little transition right here.
Like it's about to come. Hear your voice.
Okay, just a second. Let me.
An important historical fact is that of all the different peoples that have formed our modern nation, it was only the people of the Volta, Oti, parts of the current northern regions, who had the unique opportunity to choose to join the territory that became Ghana at independence. I'm referring, of course, to the 1956 plebiscite, in which on May 9th of that year, the people of the then British Togoland voted to join the Gold Coast on the attainment of her independence a year later. Without that significant historical event, we would not have Ghana as we know it today. Today, we celebrate the anniversary of the day we achieved the enviable status of becoming the first country in sub-Saharan
the whole building is the parliament where it's in Robert Bobby, so he's not.
Yes, if you are listening to us, this is dedicated for Stars Radio TV, Atlanta, Georgia, USA. We are having these discussions about the Western Togoland Union with Seth Mefetu, who is a member of the People's Liberation Council, having these discussions about the separation or the autonomy, I don't know if it's the independence of the Western Togoland Union. And there are so many circumstances about the chiefs and the people, the airways, and most of them have rejected whatever appeal they've sent to the courts, and yet the PLO are trying to get, because the history, according to said Mefetu that we are listening to, they have the records, they have the agreement that our British colony passed all this information to the nation. And so it is a nation within a nation. This is where I don't know if it's a misunderstanding between me and him, or him and the entire Ghanaian populace, or with the law, the Supreme Court of the land. And so we're just gonna wrap up right now, and you who are also listening to us will make that decision. Do you want to join them? We want them to get the independence. It's all up to you. So said.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so what is the last word? Because I know, we've almost explained everything that you want people to hear. So the next time you man on a platform, or the next time you want to demonstrate for the rest of the country to understand your position and what you are seeking for, they may also take the time to join you. So what is your last word to those of us who are who doesn't know and just listening to the issue of the Western Togoland Union?
I want to say that if you have never heard about this issue before, today you might not understand, because we did not start from the very scratch. We were only jumping in, taking it from somewhere. Because if you want somebody to understand this issue properly, I would have started from the very beginning, how the Togoland came about, how the petition was done, all that. But we believe that we have passed that stage. We have talked about that history for a long time. So people should bear with me. If you do not understand something, because you may have a lot of questions, or because we didn't give you the basis, we didn't start a conversation from the basis. But then what I can say is that the issue that we are talking about is a legitimate issue. The cause of Togoland, Western Togoland and Ghana Union is an issue that everyone must be concerned, that the right thing must be done so that we all feel belonging, we all feel part of Ghana, we will all be 100% Ghanaians, and we'll have a bigger and a greater regional integration. That is the only way forward. And I believe that when that is done, our governance will also be shake up. There's a shake up in the governance. There will be accountability. There will be probity and accountability in the area of governance, that we can have a better and a peaceful country to live in, as compared to what is happening today. There's no accountability and all that. But I don't want to talk about that, because that is not my concern, though. But I believe that the answers to Ghana's problem to lie in the union between Ghana and Western Togoland. If that union is created, I tell you, a lot of wrongs will be corrected. Thank you. That's the only thing I can say.
Hey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I just want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to listen to these discussions about the Western Togoland Union. And one and only said Mefetu, who is one of the leading members of the PLO, whom a lot of people have not heard about it, but today you've at least understand some portion. I said, let me ask you this, and I think we had to come back another time so we can start from the basis. We know we jump from the middle to maybe the end. We have to rearrange and come on back and do the basics, the fundamentals, so people can really get to know where it all started. Do you think so?
Yes. Next time we could do that, and that will be a perfect program for everybody.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Seth Mefeto, who took the time to be with us today. And those of you who are home and listening to us, it's another education. We keep on educating ourselves. Whoever deserves his right or have right to information or to anything must give it without any hesitation. And so you've heard it. Let's do our homeworks around it and let's push forward if that is what is necessary to be done, but it should be peacefully according to the law, and we shall all live peacefully as one family, as one people, and as one country fellow man. So Dady, we want to end it here, and I want to send these thanks also to my producers Maxwell Wilberforce, C. Atkins, Ho Blagoji, and also Andy Ajima. They are from Ghana. They made all these connections or network, get all the way from Ghana to send all these informations and all the videos out here, thanks to technology, and also to my big brother Seth, who also took the time to be here with us. Thank you. And this is all about 4-Star. This is all about media. This is all about information. Get the good information, make a better choice, lay a better foundation, and let's all move on as one people. Dady, about to get out of here. I am out. The whole booger is the Parliament. Well,
This is Robert Bobby, so he's not.
the whole booger is the Parliament. Well,
This is Robert Bobby, so he's not.